headed to work.
My Lords, firstly because this is the first group, again to state that I think a lot of these amendments are trying to establish in a probing way what's intended by the bill. And I think that in that sense they're very helpful for clarification in terms of the language that's used. I think it was clear from second reading that most of the people who put in these amendments or are speaking now are not in any way defending BDS. I think it was clear, and for me anyway, these boycott schemes are censorious and illiberal, and very often, as was stated at the time, are the seeding ground for anti-Semitism in public life. And in that sense, I want to oppose them. I'm just not clear how this bill will actually tackle them. As we speak, just to use an example, Rio Cinema in London, in South London, had just cancelled its own Eurovision party on the basis that they're not going to hold it while Israel still has somebody in the Eurovision Song Contest. I don't know whether this is BDS, self-declared BDS. They are a charity. I'm not quite sure how this bill would apply. And the point I kept trying to make at second reading was that so often I feel that the bill will miss where actually a lot of the anti-Semitic censorship is occurring around this periphery, rather than just in terms of divestment and investment and so on. But the reason I say that is because for those of us who are interested in tackling those issues, we need to have as much free speech as possible. So I wanted to particularly query, and support, in fact, the Noble Lord Salter's Amendment 6 in particular, although I think all of them are interesting, which is the point about any person seeking to persuade or to persuade the decision maker. Because it seems to me that the point that any person seeking to persuade the decision maker, this, it seems to me, is what politics is it not? Trying to persuade the decision maker, lobbying, trying to have an influence on politics is surely the job that we're all in, even if we disapprove of, in this instance, what they're trying to be persuaded about. And I just get anxious about this being in a bill, that it sets a dangerous precedent. And the points that have been made well by other noble lords about the use of the language of political and moral disapproval, I would want there to be far more political and moral disapproval in politics today than there is. I think it's an entirely good thing to make that clear. I wish there was a bit more political and moral disapproval leadership in general, even though many of us arguing this would disagree over what it should be. That's fair. But it's far better than a kind of technocratic approach, it seems to me. But also, if we're going to win the hearts and minds of many of the young people who go along with BDS campaigns, we're going to have to show our political and moral disapproval and win them over and seek to persuade them. So you get the point. But I do think it's not clear to me at all how the language in this section that these amendments refer to will help us tackle the problem that is being sought to be addressed by this bill.
I also wish to